Hello, welcome to Enots Engineering. I'm Alan. In this week's video we take a look at a face milling cutter with inserts which comes with an R8 arbor from Banggood. And we start to make a mill tramming gauge. Tramming is the process of squaring the head of the mill to the table. So let's go into the workshop and see how we did it. Well, today we're looking at a milling cutter set. These are from Banggood. So what you get in the set comprises of a set of tips for the cutter, an R8 arbor for the face mill, and the face mill itself. The whole kit was supplied under the name of Drillpro, but each carton has a different label on it, and I believe the tips are supplied by Drillpro. So let's have a look what you get in the kit. First of all, the milling arbor. Standard R8. The finish looks good. As usual, the edge of the keyway is like a razor blade, so the first thing I do with this is run an oil stone just along that edge, just to take the sharp edge off. And the same on the other side. Just run the oil stone along. You can see it's just taking the corner off. So I know I'm not going to cut my fingers on that edge. Comes with the cap head. I didn't get a Allen key with this. So you get the cap head, the arbor with a 7/16 UNF thread. Now, I'll just get my tap and just check that that is 7/16 before I try to fit it. And I've just put a tap down there which is 7/16 UNF, and it took a little material out, and I'm guessing that's because when they tap that and the part has been blackened, which leaves some of the black in the threads, so by putting the tap down, clean the thread out, restore it back to its original state, and you're ready to go. So the thread was already there, it's just gone down and taken a bit out, and I've made sure that that fits the drawbar of the machine, and that screws in there. Okay, no problems. So always put a tap down the end just to make sure that A, it is the right thread for the machine, and B, if there's any dirt or bits in there, you're cleaning them out. So we know that's the right thread, we know it fits the drawbar. It comes with a Torx key for the inserts. 4 inserts go in there. The inserts came with it. I think these are Drillpro inserts. There's nothing on the packet to say what they are. So this kit is supplied by Banggood and is supplied under the Drillpro name. And while I'm talking about Banggood, they're just a warehousing operation. Banggood do not manufacture anything. I'd just like to make it clear that I'm not getting paid by Banggood for talking about their products. They've sent me the product to test, and I'm saying what I think of the product. I've got no pressure from Banggood to say anything in their favour. So that's the 50mm face end mill. That fits on the end. There's a bit of play on there, but we'll check that. I'll put the cap head in, tighten the cap head up. And I thought to myself, that doesn't seem very long. And that cap head goes in there and locates on 1, 2, 2.5 threads. Now I wouldn't fit that to my machine, knowing that it was only held on by 2.5 threads. I had a look in my nuts and bolts box and found this cap head, which is 5mm longer, which is more suitable for this. I don't think anybody's actually checked that the length of the cap head for this gives you enough thread to hold it on. Yeah, you could just hold it, but I would rather put that in where you can see, you look through the T-slot, you can see the thread is down. Put this on the end, cap head actually stands out, and now you can tighten it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 threads. But do look out for that. For the sake of changing the cap head, it might save you a lot of damage to your machine if this does come loose. What we'll do next is fit the inserts. Say 4 inserts come with it, and a Torx key to tighten the screws. So that's the first one fitted, and I'll go around and fit the others. There are the 4 inserts fitted. Well, let's go over to the milling machine. I've removed the cutter from the arbor and just checked that the spindle's clean. There's no bits in there. Put the arbor in, turn it round until the pin lines up with the slot, and then hold it in position while you fit the drawbar. Screw the drawbar in. Tighten the nut up. Doesn't need to be too tight. Every division on that clock is a 1/10. I can't see it moving. Is it working? Yeah. Doesn't seem to be showing any run out on there. What I've done is change the indicator bottom from a round one to a flat one. Now I'll turn the spindle round slowly backwards so I can get the highest reading on each tip. That's reading about 4 thou down. That one's just over 0. That one's 1 thou up, 1 thou and 3/10 up. This one is about 1/2 thou up, and the last one is 4 thou down. So in total, one's 4 thou down and one's 1 thou and 1/2 up. So that gives a total of 5.5 thou run out on the inserts. Now I don't know whether that is the inserts that are wrong or whether it's a machining on the insert holder. So what I want to do now is just switch the dial indicator around to check the bottom of the tool. So I've changed the dial indicator round. I've put the other stylus, the ball stylus, on the end of the dial indicator rather than the flat one. Now I'm just checking as I turn the cut around. I want the highest reading, which is there, just on the 0 for that one. and that one's about a thou, just over a thou different. Two thou. So I've got two at 0, one at a thou up and one at 2 thou up. I've just put a piece of square mild steel in the vise, set the speed to about 1000 RPM. I just want to see how this cuts. See the finish there. I don't want to take too much off this bar because I want to use it. So I'll just take the sharp corner off, put it back in and do the last side. At the start of the cut there was some slight chatter, but I think that's because it wasn't supported in the vise, it was hanging out the end of the vise. But as it cut along the bar, the finish improved, and as it got to the end of the bar, the chatter came back again, and I think that was this unsupported part. So let's have a look at the rest of the tool. You can see that you can see where the cut has been working, the teeth. You can just see on the very tip of the tool where it's taking the blue off the finish of the tip. But that was only a light cut of about 0.2 of a millimetre, 1/8 thou. I've just put the arbor back in the machine and I want to retest the runout because I can't believe how little there was, and this time I'll do it with the motor running on a slow speed. That dial indicator's in tenths of a thou. You can see it's moving less than a tenth of a thou. So what I'll do now is take the end mill cutter off it and check the spindle where the end mill is. The R8 arbor for a face mill, run out less than 1/10 of a thou. Excellent, no problems. The only thing you need to check is that when you're fitting a face mill on the end, that the cap head you have is long enough to go into the into the end of the arbor to grip the face mill. As you saw at the beginning, I had to replace the cap head with a screw a bit longer, but that's not a major problem as long as you're aware of it. So I'll have to see when I fit it back on, put it back on and use it again, if it's still 5 thou, whether it's changed, whether the what run out is in the mounting to the harbour. Inserts, I haven't really given them a good trial to see how much they can cut off, how long they last. That will come with time, but I can't really say much about the insert. So as a kit, yeah, I would buy the kit. I think the arbor is better than the one that came with the machine, and I've no problems with it. We've milled the length of the bar with the face mill, with the inserts, and I've just milled the edge of the bar with a 10mm end mill, carbide end mill, and I've taken the corners off. So what we're making is a dial indicator holder on this side and a spindle about here, so we can set the head true in the milling machine. The head on this milling machine is set as it came. The instructions said it had been set true, but I'm just interested to see how true is. I've marked a hole position here, about 15mm from the end, and then I've marked another one here. And the distance between the two holes is not important, but it needs to suit the mill that you've got. What I've done here is this is the centre of the table, and this bit here where the mark is will be on the edge of the table. So depending on the width of your table, you can mark the hole. That way you can get a full 360-degree movement of this around the table. Now I've put the bar on end just using the edge of the vise, and I've used a square across the vise to get the bar square to the table. I've moved, or the milling spindle, I've moved the centre drill so it's in the centre of the bar,